The story of Lighthouse is not complete until you hear the impact, the transformation, the legacy that lives on in the young people that we serve. And tonight it is my sincere privilege to welcome my friend and for many years my brother, Antwayne Akins. He is a living legacy of Lighthouse Incorporated. And there was a slide in that video that talked about that strangers became friends. My father's greatest friend was a man named Herman Griffin. He was a resident of a Central community. If it hadn't been for his friendship and his leadership, none of what you've seen today would have ever happened. All these years later, Antwayne gets to present a new honor that Lighthouse is beginning to bestow beginning this year, and it is our Legacy Award. So when I ask Antwayne to come and share and do your thing, brother.
Good evening, good evening. I actually prepared a speech. Please forgive me in watching the slide that you saw. That is my life. That is the life that I experienced. I grew up in King Kennedy Estates, one of the larger parts of Cuyahoga Metropolitan Housing Authority. Born and raised, and up until 2 years ago, I always lived there. Put on a more joyous note, I want to say congratulations, Pastor. Absolutely, congratulations on 30 years to you, as well as to the Heaven Train family. For 30 years, you have had the honor of serving the Lord and fulfilling your passion. That passion being making an impact on the lives of the impoverished, and in particular the children, on me. Over the last 30 years, Heaven Train has touched millions of lives and made a deep and lasting footprint in Cleveland and throughout the entire state of Ohio. But I just want to take a moment and talk about how one life, my life, has been touched and forever changed. Today I stand here before you as a humble man, as a gracious man, and as a different man as a result of Heaven Train. As some of you may or may not know, like I mentioned before, I was born and raised in King Kennedy Estates, probably about 4 miles just west of here. Excuse me. It was pretty much far from the ideal environment to raise a child, to grow up in. It was complete with violence and pretty much void of any sort of positivity, any sort of influential or any sort of motivation to ever get out of there and then enter Heaven Train. When I was barely able to walk, let alone talk, my father, Herman Griffith, introduced me to Pastor Phil and Heaven Train, and a group of positive individuals with a kind heart and a desire to do good, which was a complete shock, yet a welcome to my regular norm. Over the years, I began to accompany my father on Saturdays while he served alongside Pastor Phil, going into the unsafe neighborhoods, being surrounded by violence, crime, and drugs. But I was given the opportunity to see my world through the eyes of a stranger. As Andy mentioned, coming from his upbringing into my world, I too was also exposed to his world. I was able to see that there is a life outside of King Kennedy Estates. I was able to see that there is a life outside of Cleveland. I currently reside in Dallas, Texas, but that's different. But I never expected that introduction would have such a monumental impact on my life as it has had. I graduated from East Technical High School. I was able to be the valedictorian of my high school class. I was able to obtain a 4-year scholarship to a small private college in which I graduated. I recently obtained my master's degree, and I'm currently working on the master's equivalent in the insurance field as well. But like I mentioned before, I never expected the meeting of Pastor Phil and the introduction of Heaven Train into my life to have such an impact as it did. I was embraced by not only the Heaven Train staff, but also Pastor Phil and his family, and I was treated as one of their own. My brother, my father, Pastor Phil, and my mom, Delta. The relationship that I built with Heaven Train, Pastor Phil, Lighthouse, instilled in me a set of values and fundamentals such as education, honesty, love, helping your fellow man, and respect, just to name a few. And today, those continue to define me and guide me in everything that I do. For this, Pastor, I am forever thankful, grateful, and devoted to the support and progress of Heaven Train, Lighthouse, and my father's best friend. And for that, Pastor Phil, I say thank you, and I love you.